I am back with you at the Here For It Live, and I don't know if you can notice, I'm not at Palette. I'm at one of our partner spaces, Sesh Co-working in Houston, Texas. My favorite person, Beyonce's hometown, and so I'm just like, maybe I'll run into her. I don't know. You never know. But
Can you imagine?
I am here with our special guest and Palette member, Stacy Eater, and thank you so much for Stacy for being here with us. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you. This is
Awesome. So
awesome.
it's really, really hot in Houston. So I didn't really know how to prepare myself for the heat here. But is it cold? It's cold in Saratoga right now, or
I
fallish?
would say colder than Houston, but we're dealing with those fall weathers where we wake up and it's like 50 and then it gets up to 78 and then goes back down to 40 and then
Yeah.
it's that the in between. I'm pulling out the sweater weather hopes.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah.
So I want to share, like, you are a multi-passionate working mom, and you joined us like in during the pandemic, right? Were you laid
Yeah.
off or on sabbatical or like a furloughed or something?
Yeah.
Tell us where you in life when you joined.
Well, when Pallet swooped in and gave me some hope, I was on furlough. I'm not one to sit idle. So furlough was really hard. I mean, as the whole pandemic was for everybody. And it was, how do I find my niche with something while still trying to keep my family happy and above water, mentally, financially, and everything. So when I first saw Palette, I was drawn to it because I'm a Schenectady girl. I love Breathe Schenectady. So when I saw that opening up, that really kind of triggered something in me of I want to be a part of something that's in downtown Schenectady. I want to be a part of something that I can contribute towards and learn from and keep active with. And at the same time, I was building my own business, which was a personal organizing company. So I go into people's homes or offices. I can do residential or commercial, and I basically get to sift through people's stuff and put it away all pretty. So Palette kind of helped me in that time period to really kind of focus in and have some avenues of being able to work with somebody on my website and get just all the leg up, as I call it, of help. It was just tremendous. And so I've stayed active even though I'm back to work full time, been back to work for full time. And yeah, so that's why I'm here. That's why I love my palette.
So did you use somebody like talk to us about that process, because I feel like when you came to us, you had an idea, you had a business, like, and you were you already doing this, and you just needed to kind of like focus on it, structure it a little bit, and market it, right?
Definitely. I mean, I've been doing this for years, just for friends and family, just kind of going in. I can't tell you how many of my friends' closets I've done for them, and just kind of assisted them. And then somebody's like, you need to do this for a living. And I was like, but I love what I do for a living. So when that moment came during the pandemic where everybody just kind of questions of what am I doing right now? How am I doing everything? Is this the way I want to be doing things? I had a blessing in disguise of that time period of my furlough to really take a deep dive and go, all right, if I'm going to do this, now's the time to do it. I'm
Yeah.
home. I have time to build a business plan. I have time to build a website. I have time to do these things. So if anything, it just kind of kicked my butt into high gear to take what I was already kind of dabbling in and
Yeah.
just making it shined up. Now I have business cards, and now I have brochures, and now I have a website, and
Yeah,
and
it
yeah,
helps you too, from going from like helping a friend out to being a client, right? Like
oh yeah,
it's kind of hard when you don't have that structure or that everything in place to ask people for money, and to like, like to actually get paid to do the things that you were doing.
yeah.
I imagine you were helping a lot of people, and you know, um, it was like there's maybe some awkward conversations about like, so like, are you gonna pay me to do this? So having
Well,
like
I'd always
business
volunteer, but my friends know me well, and they would just throw me Amazon gift cards. So
I'm writing that down right now, actually. That's good to know that.
I do take time on Amazon.
That's awesome. So I would like to share kind of like my perspective. You came into my house most recently. This is like, was it the third time that you've done this, or you just came in
Yeah.
and you like wreaked havoc on my house, but in a good way because it needed it so badly. And also, you rearranged the kids, like the girls' room. And I don't know why I never thought to like rearrange the furniture, but you like took, I mean, you have measuring tape, you like pulled it all out and you like, you just rearranged everything and it was amazing. And the girls love it.
Oh, good.
And I had homework to do that I haven't gotten done yet, so that you can come back and finish Posey's room because it was such a mess that you only had time in like the 4 hours that you were there to do like two rooms because it was that bad, people. I'm like, so my house is just it looks like a bombshell, like a bomb went off.
No. And and that's average. So a lot of people think you could just take an hour or two and get things done. And I think that's the pressure that people put on themselves. And that's why people end up hiring out because it does take longer because you're purging, you're sorting, you're folding, you're assembling, you're doing what you're moving furniture around. So it does take more. And honestly, too, there's the assessment of the use of the room. What's the best use of the space? So all of these different things go into it when you're looking at how do you live in an area? What do you want to see? What don't you want to see? What do you want to hide? Not hide, but I don't need
Yeah,
to see all of the shoes. I can put them away. I don't need to see these items. I can come up with a system. And that's where organizers come in, where we just kind of take what you already have going, get your thoughts on it, and then move forward. But it does take a lot more time. And I think that's a big thing when I'll give an estimate to a client of those, we'll do a video call or I'll do a home assessment and I'll say, all right, this is going to take like 3 or 4 sessions. And they're like, well, I think I can get this done in an afternoon. I'm like, okay, like
try
that's
it.
cool. Like you called me for a reason. Use me, and that's okay. And I think a lot of people think it's bad if they just can't get to it, and it causes so much stress. And
It's so
honestly,
true.
a clean sweep life is about your life. It's about not just, folding clothes and, I'm all for pretty containers, but only if they work properly, only if they're functional. Like it's about living in your space and how are you doing that best and living your best life in that space.
Yeah.
So don't beat yourself up for, yeah, I only had time to do this much because it's what it's about. It's what it's about. So.
Yeah. So you had to shift back to working full time for this amazing organization. You are so passionate about it. It's like you're doing, the most incredible work in our community, but like statewide. And so tell us more about this. And you have some really exciting events coming up.
I do. So my role with Special Olympics is the statewide director for community engagement and events, which is basically I call it the fancy way of saying I get to work with people in the community and I get to plan all the really cool statewide events. So events, details, logistics, organizing, it's kind of all my ballywick. It's what I love to do. It's what I thrive on. The other part of my job that I love the most is that I get to do this for an amazing population of people. I get to work with amazing staff. I've been with Special Olympics now. I just turned 15. So I just turned 15 years, which is a little hard to imagine because it feels like some days I just got here. When I look back on all the things that we've been able to do in that 15 years, it's quite incredible. So I work with an amazing staff and volunteers, and we pull together our state level events, which is you'll see that Special Olympics runs year round in all of our regions, in all of our areas across the state. They're training for at least 8 weeks to compete in a local event. Then they'll go to a regional event, sometimes a super regional event, and they have earned their way to go to the state level event. So this is the highest level of competition within New York State that they can achieve to. So all of that training, all of the competitions they've done before leads them to this event. Further than New York State, we then use our New York State games to propel athletes to national events and world events. So we are sending athletes to Berlin in 2023 next year. We just went to Florida and had 187 New York athletes go as part of the New York delegation for the USA Games. So that was this past June. So there's all these different efforts, but the criteria of advancement are competition, keeping to true competition, disqualifications if necessary. It just proves them to go harder and harder, work stronger, work longer. And then incorporated into that, we have all these different programs as well. So we have health programs. I also have the honor of helping lead our Athlete Leadership Council, which is a statewide council of athletes made up from all over the state that are part of leadership training. and it's a 2-year program, and it's just amazing things. So on top of the competition, on top of the games, on top of all those things, we have so many different initiatives that that we get to work and incorporate into all of our events. So it's just, I
That's
don't know,
awesome.
there's a lot of good stuff to talk about. I could
Yeah, it totally is. And I want to talk more about like I had a misunderstanding. I think growing up and then recently until I met you, like that it's just fun. I'm not saying that it's not fun for them, but this is like intense competition.
oh yeah.
They are going after it and they are committed and they're going through training. I mean, it's like it's an entire lifestyle. This isn't just
Yes.
it's not just a cute little fundraiser
Mhm.
for this population. This is like their lives. And
Exactly. Yeah.
I think it also contributes to a better overall lifestyle for them, right? Like
Mhm. Oh yeah.
they have um they have these disabilities, but they're not held back.
Mhm. Yeah, if anything, they're propelled forward. So they're meeting friends, they're getting social interaction with people, they're learning new skills, they're learning how to lose sometimes, it's hard losing, but losing just makes you work harder. They'll work with their coaches on what do I need to do to train? What do I need to do this? I have athletes that will tell me, hey, I know I have to get gold in this event because I want to get to USA Games. I want to get to World Games. They propel themselves. Their biggest competitors are themselves. We've all heard the story of an athlete falling and an athlete helping them back up. That is true. That is so true. It runs rampant. Our sportsmanship is just ridiculous. The manners and the kindness and the polite measures between hotels, venues that we use, the competition sites, everything. Everyone loves to host us, and I think that's one thing that makes us really unique. Is that people search us out. We have a bid process, that we have to go through. Search us out and say, "Hey, we'd really like Special Olympics to be in our community." We're constantly looking for new communities that we can be a part of as well. So it's that athlete that drives everything we do. The athletes, especially our leadership council, they'll come up with topics and they'll say, hey, this happened and I think that this needs to change, and they can actually take that to a higher level of leadership councils within our mid-Atlantic states, to the US, to even a world level. So it's that constant ambition of looking to the next thing, looking to that next event, bettering themselves, getting jobs based off of all of the skills that they've learned with communication and hard work. It's an immense trickle effect that we have in the community. So it's
I
nice.
mean, and then it's like, where does it stop? When there's just so much impact to make, and it's all good energy, good feelings, and I just like I think you're so lucky to have like the job
I know.
that you have to be able to do this work. It's really cool.
Yeah, I do feel really lucky every day. The organization as a whole was just tremendous to work for, and the volunteers, and I all day long I get messages, text messages, emails from athletes, asking questions, wanting to do something. The more embedded we are into them, we're serving them. What we do serves them. What I do for state games, I could plan in a weekend, but we don't. We plan it for a 24, 18 months out, because we're planning to also educate the community. We're planning on working with media and marketing folks to make sure that we're putting advertisements in newspapers or online or wherever we can get to. So the community that we're going to be in, like, so Glens Falls is our fall games coming up in October. We're working with them to make sure that we're hitting every point of contact so everybody hears about us. Posters in the windows, volunteer business cards being out at all the registers, staff attending community events to go and meet and greet people, and bring some athletes so people understand that the event is coming. And it's not just coming, it's here, and then we're going to stay here because we leave our footprint here for our capital region folks as well. So
So you manage this for the whole state.
yes, I manage our state level events. Yep.
Wow, wow,
So
that
we
is
have winter, summer, and fall. So we have 3 seasons, and every season has a culminating event at the end, which is the state level event. And then I'm also the contact for all the national and world stuff as well with our Special Olympics North America program.
oh my
So
gosh, like, and
it's
it's just
fun.
you. Do you have a team that you're managing?
Oh yeah, yeah, no, don't, yeah, I'm not that mighty. Don't worry. I have, we have a team. So now, albeit it's a small team, people think there's like an army behind this. There's collectively, I'd say, even with our fundraising staff and our competition staff and everything else, probably like 7 or so of us that are just dedicated. But I mean, this is one part of my job of many different tasks and many
Yeah.
different objectives that I have within Special Olympics. But it definitely starts to take a priority where, you know, we're 1 month out today is our opening ceremonies for the fall games in Glens Falls. So we have 1 month to finish our planning and start putting things into execution mode.
Yeah.
So it's an exciting time. There was definitely a buzz around here today where we're like, we are 1 month out.
Yeah, yeah, get people hyped. So kind
Yeah.
of, I would love to hear your perspective on how having the gap, you know, you basically had like, was it a gap year when there were no events and, you know, there was not even a real understanding or expectation like when these events were going to reoccur, right? So like how has that impacted your work ethic now? I mean, I think right now, just in general, people are working harder than they ever have, even though they might have more flexibility to work from home. But I also think it's the gap that we all had. It was the pause that we all had. It's like we are still recalibrating into like a
Mhm.
sustainable productivity pattern in work.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's hard to come back. I call it COVID recovery that we're dealing with right now, because during the time period, our staff that was still on board for that was not furloughed. Like I do all of our state level events and different events, and obviously those events weren't going to happen. So it made perfect sense to me for me to go on furlough. We kept a good handful or so of staff active, and we literally just switched into virtual mode. Everybody was learning how to do Zoom at that point. Everybody was learning all these things. We had we had activity at home. So we were trying to keep the athletes active. You know, we had at home competitions. It was, you know, jump roping. It was doing sit ups. It was all health component and very fitness oriented to try to keep our athletes still active. We didn't award medals, but we did do t-shirts, and we would send out, you know, participation things. So keeping people engaged is one of the hardest things that happened during the pandemic. A lot of people just kind of fell off. And I say that in general, not just with Special Olympics. They weren't sure how to act. They didn't know where to go. I mean, obviously we weren't going anywhere for a while, you know, so keeping that activity going was part of how we kept our momentum to come back. So our return to play was slower. Last October, the last fall games we had was the first event we had, large scale event we had since COVID. We had about, I would say, 450 or so athletes and coaches. It was smaller than what we would typically have. Then we went into our winter season, and then our summer season. And now we're back to our fall season. And I'm now planning for 1,300 athletes and coaches
Wow. And
instead
they
of
all stay in Glens
450.
Falls?
All in Glens Falls. But see, here's where the COVID recovery is still happening. We have all these great things happening. We're like, this is amazing. We have so much good training. We have so many good competitions happening on the regional end. Our staff is like kicking butt on the regional side. They're doing all the events. We're going to have a state level event. We're going to invite all these people. But hotels are getting harder to use. They're like, we'll give you 20 rooms. We're like, I need like 100.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so, but they're like, we own them. We have them in inventory, but we can't use them because we don't have the staff
Not the
to
staff.
support them.
Ugh.
I couldn't get in touch with the general manager the other day of a hotel because he was doing housekeeping.
Ugh.
Like, that's the world we live in. The
Yeah.
tourism industry took a big hit. They had a mass exodus of people that what do they call it? That you know, the industry evacuation or whatever, you know, that
Yeah.
term that people were using. This is one of those industries, and now they have new people in, and they're wonderful people, and they're doing their best, but they're still short staffed. They still don't have the staff in order to support the event. So even though
Yeah.
we could host the event, but you know, we pulled it off. We're using 13 different properties, which then have to go to 7 different competition sites. Not to mention our opening ceremonies and closing ceremonies, and the mass movement of bodies that will happen throughout Glens Falls or throughout the weekend. It's
Yeah.
a whole transportation plan and food logistics and all the fun. And that's my thing, right? I love that stuff. So it's a good
Yeah.
thing I love it, because This has been one of the biggest challenges. 15 years, I've never seen anything like this in
It's
way
interesting
of
too because it's
hotels.
like I don't love that piece of the job. Like I love the actual event and being there and enjoying myself and being part of it. But the planning, the executing, and when things don't go according to plan, it's just like so. I thank you for being you and for doing what you do because like I feel like I kind of am part of it and that I have a window into what it could be or what it looks like to
Yep.
be under that amount of responsibility and be so positive about it.
Well, like I said, I have a great team of people that I work with. Our competition crew, our sponsorship, our community engagement with media marketing. Like it's not just me. I get the job and the honor of project managing it, but I'm working collectively with also the great staff that work here at Special Olympics. So I have to give a big shout out to them as well because it's I get that title of project manager, but it's just because I'm just keeping all the spokes in the wheel straight and
Yeah,
making
yeah.
sure that
And
everybody
you
is
probably
doing what
like
they're
you
doing.
must be an expert delegator.
You would think so. I I hold tight to some things. I let go on others. My intern was laughing at me this morning regarding that. So yeah, it's because he's like, I could do that. I'm like, okay, yes, I suppose you should. That's why you're here. So
Yeah,
yes, I think we all. I don't know. I don't want to say women and moms and all that stuff, but it just we just tend to kind of hold tight to certain things. So it does like anyone else, it's I have
yeah.
a
No,
harder
it's a work in progress. We're all work in progress. We're all trying to figure it out, navigate this thing called
yeah.
life together. And so tell us what we can do to support you for this event in the fall. Do you need volunteers? Do you need sponsors?
We
What's
do.
going on? Yeah,
We
all of
need
the above.
volunteers. Yep. So we have 7 different sports, 6 different venues, all located within Glens Falls. We're using Skidmore in Saratoga for our equestrian, and then we're using Brookhaven, which is in Corinth, for our golf. But everything else is centrally located to Glens Falls, within like 10 minutes from each other. So you can pick a sport and know nothing about it. That's one of the other cool things about us. It's on-site training. Except maybe equestrian. We do need equestrian folks for that. So there are some sports specific jobs that we have, and then timers, scorekeepers, escorts, lunch, water. Water's always a big one. Hydration stations everywhere. So it takes a village. And we'll probably look for about 350 to 400 volunteers within the span of the weekend, if not more, because we want fan stations. It's so exciting because this year we can bring back the spectators, we can bring back the fans. So the easiest way to get to the information is to go to our website, which is specialolympicsny.org.
Okay.
And you
And
just go
there you
to
can sign up to be a
volunteer and
volunteer.
you'll see state. You get to be a volunteer. You can get more information. We're also looking for sponsors. We have a package that includes anything from adopt an athlete, which is about $400, to all the way up to $25,000, and everything in between. We use these
Awesome.
games to do a lot of employee team building because we do have opportunities during the week for setup. So that during work hours, we need some assistance with things. So I always joke that we're just kind of like the circus. We just kind of roll in with our U-Hauls and just like scatter everything, and tent companies are running all over, setting everything else up for us. But yeah, there's a lot of cool opportunities within it, and we something for every age. You can be a fan if you're under 13, 13 to 16. Can have a job with a parent, and then 16 and above can have a job on their own.
Awesome.
And so yeah, but I can also put some stuff up on the Palette app.
Yes, do that. And we'll
So I'll do
share
that.
in all the
Yeah.
places to get some people volunteered for you. I would love to sponsor what did you say? Sponsor an athlete?
Yeah,
I wanna do
sponsor an
that. I
athlete.
wanna do
I'll
that.
send you the info. Cool. Awesome. Yeah,
And the event is the weekend of October 21st.
that's correct. Yep. October 21st is opening ceremonies right in City Park. We do it
So
outside.
cool.
It's so fun. It's like a big party. And then competition all day on the 22nd, closing ceremonies that night, and then they all depart and go home on
I
Sunday.
love it.
So
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much
thank
for
you so
getting us
much.
involved. And anyone out there who might be interested in sponsoring an athlete, I'm going to do it. You should do it. It's so much fun to help in this way. And we're going to get some volunteers there the weekend of October 21st, 22nd, and the 23rd. Is that right? No.
More volunteering on the 21st and 22nd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So if you want to get in touch with Stacy, you can find her on the Palette website, LinkedIn. I know you're on LinkedIn, the Special Olympics website.
Yep.
And also, if you need your clean house, if you need your house cleaned, organized, arranged in a way that is like magazine worthy, you need to contact Stacy. I don't know if she is doing appointments, because you're so busy with this other stuff. So if you want,
I am doing appointments.
Okay, you are.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I need to lock you in for my house again.
Yeah.
I need to do my homework, and I get to share with everyone. The homework is not difficult. It's like picking out a piece of furniture and buying it so that it'll be delivered, and then Stacy's gonna put it together for me, which is just.
I do.
Yes, you are.
You're so
Or
funny.
you can arrange a TaskRabbit person and come and do it. I don't care. I don't care how it gets done as long as like you do it.
Right. I will do it. Don't you worry. I got you.
Awesome.
I got you.
Thank you so much for being here. I will see you soon,
Yeah.
and send me that info
Yes.
to sponsor an athlete.
I will. I will. Thanks.